Okay, so today we will talk about script. We will talk about film genres, stages of script writing, script structure, the hero's journey, and essential script terms. So that's a lot of material to cover, and I'll try to be in my time limit. So does any of you have any experience like really writing a script, like in its format, standard format, short films, maybe even feature films? So what's your experience with script? Or like, can you identify that you see a script in front of you? Can you read it? Can you identify the information from it? Navigate yourself? Okay. No one knows format and writing feature. Oh, great. I would love to hear more details about it. Okay. Marat has only ideas for corporate events. All right. Well, it can also be some kind of script for such events. Parth, what about you? Well, I guess you all heard the word script, and you even know like the special. Uh, okay, so I have people who know about the script. So you know the standard, so you can identify that this is not some kind of like a prose or book in front of you. So this is script because we have like special font for the script, and we have like special standard and format for the script. Okay. Uh, so the first topic that we are going to discuss is the genre. And usually when we discuss genres, so people say that there is no such a thing as genre. So genre was specifically created back in 1920s. So when all the film studios started to flourish and producers needed to identify different films so that to help the audience to choose the film to watch. So therefore, they decided to name and label some films with like comedies or dramas or westerns and so on and so forth. So that was like sort of marketing, so labeling films with genres. Of course, we have genres in literature as well, but it's a little bit different sphere. But anyway, so some people think that genre is something artificial, so they don't really exist. And there was such a man. His name is Robert Stan. He's a film theorist, and he is the most known for creating the special theory about genres. Uh, he says that while some genres are based on story content, like the war film, others are borrowed from literature, comedy, melodrama, or from other media, like musical. So in fact, it's a little bit transparent territory, because sometimes when you want to identify the film and its genre, it can have not pure genre, but it will have also subgenres. And so that to sort of make your choice of films narrow. And for example, if you think of any film and you would like to identify just with one genre, you will also need the help of subgenres. So if I ask you like, what's your favorite genre of film? So how could you answer this question? Which films do you prefer to watch? Or maybe already something that you would love to work with? Okay, science fiction, fantastic, and fantasy. Okay. So, well, I have guys here, so science fiction is always something that is of their choice. Yeah. Okay. Do you have any favorite films in this genre? Maybe like top one, two? Okay, no specific genre for Parrot? Anything with a good story? Yeah, it can happen. Because actually, all filmmaking is about great story to tell. Marat, your favorite film is Matrix. Okay, so you will enjoy this lesson for sure. Noah loves more. Oh no, I remember that you love Star Wars. I remember watching it like a lot of times. Do you enjoy the old versions from 70s? Do you enjoy the modern versions? Sequels, prequels, Mandalorian TV show? Okay. Okay, great. So I know a little bit about your tastes, but we're going to take a look at all the genres that are sort of identified, and you will see the subgenres. So I guess when you see the names of subgenres, so you will see and you will understand more, so what we're talking about. And so that I don't ask every time, like, give me more examples, or what's your favorite action film? So as soon as you see the slide with the genre, so try to think already about some other examples of films and type them. Yeah, so that we save the time. Okay? So the first genre is action, and the subgenres will be spy series, martial art films, video game films, meaning that some video game was like the initial, like it was based on a video game, for example, or superhero films. Of course, James Bond, any James Bond movie is an action film, um, with some martial art heroes like Bruce Lee and Fist Fury as well. Superhero films, Superman, for example. Yeah, like all superhero films, they're like action films. Marvel, yeah, like Spider-Man, Avengers as well. Yeah, so if you think about other films of this genre, so you just can type them. If I see something interesting that you can mention, but anyway, so it's all about fighting. Yeah, it's about heroes and fighting. So some stuff that men like to do. Dunkirk. Um, when people fight, yeah, usually Dunkirk, I would go with a war film as well, and historical film too. You know, so when you think of Dunkirk, you cannot really say that it's just only action film. Yeah, you need a little bit more words to add. Okay, yeah, Mission Impossible. So anything connected with like Tom Cruise running around, James Bond running around. So that's all about action films. Okay, the next one, adventure, like the genre and subgenres, pirate films, historical films, epics, expeditions, jungle, desert epics, treasure hunts, disasters, and search for unknown. So all of these subgenres can fit into adventure. And for example, Indiana Jones, which is an action film and adventure, of course. But mostly when we think about Indiana Jones, so it's the film that is about, on the one hand, treasure hunts, in a way expedition, so, and depends where Indiana Jones travels, so it can be jungle or desert as well. When we think about pirate films, of course we remember about the Pirates, the Caribbean, few parts as well. And if we think about some historical adventures, so Braveheart as well can be an adventure film. So if you remember some other examples or some other favorite films of your own, so you can type. Tomb Raider. Yeah, could be. Action film as well, yeah. So here, when, for example, you go and watch the film on IMDb or on the Russian version of IMDb, so you will not see that only one genre. You will see at least 2 or 3 words which describe this film, so that you have more information what kind of plot you're going to see. So it will not be only just one word. Swiss Army Man, I heard. Well, action is not really my favorite genre. I enjoy adventures more. Films with Nicolas Cage. Yeah, mostly. Yeah, they can be action films mostly. But Nicolas Cage is actually a very great actor. He can be a drama actor as well. He can play great roles in melodramas as well. So he's like an actor of various parts to play. Comedy, the next one. So it can be slapstick, screwball, spoofs, parodies, romantic comedies like chick flicks or gal for guys, black comedies, and dark satirical comedy. So, as an example, of course, all Charlie Chaplin films, they're mostly like slapsticks as well. Bridget Jones is a typical romantic comedy like chick flick. And here I also put Fargo, because Fargo, on another hand, besides that it is a thriller, it is also like dark comedy, because, well, Coen brothers, they have a very interesting sense of humor. Yes, so when you think about oh, Swiss Army Man, yeah, Borat is a comedy. It's like a parody, and well, it depends what kind of sense of humor you have and you can perceive. So for some people it can be like a comedy. For some people it's already like dark satirical comedy. So it really depends. So you can balance. The next one, crime gangster films. So here you can find film noirs, detective mysteries, courtroom, crime legal thrillers, serial killer films, suspense, and thriller itself. As an example, Chinatown, which is not really like when we talk about film noir, so we usually think about something black and white. Of course, like the first film noirs were black and white, but Chinatown is not black and white film. But anyway, so it's a little bit later, but still film noir, detective mystery. Once Upon a Time in America, like probably one of the most famous gangster film as well, and film 7. So a very great thriller as well. Do you enjoy crime and gangster films? Have you seen all of these films that I showed you as an example? Well, I try to pick up like the most famous films that can be put into these genres and illustrate them. Well, I was thinking about Godfather, but Godfather was just mentioned during the first lesson, the second lesson, like how much more? Drama. So drama is a very broad genre. So here we can have melodramas, epics, biopics, and sports. Usually when you start describe the film in terms of genre, so you usually start with like, is it a happy movie or like a sad movie? So, and if it's like a sad movie, so it should be drama. And then you start to specify, so is it like drama historical, drama action, or drama adventure, and so on and so forth. So as an examples, Andrei Rublev, so drama, biopic, Casablanca, drama, melodrama, Million Dollar Baby, so drama, sport. So here we can already add more words. So usually we don't just say drama, but we really need to specify what type of drama it is. So do you know all these films mentioned? Gone Girl with Affleck. Yeah, Gone Girl with it will be drama. It will be thriller, melodrama, I guess as well. Epics. Epics are usually very like big budget films with a huge number of extras. So like for example, Gone with the Wind. So this is epic film. So this is drama. This is historical film, war film, and epic. So epic usually shows that it's like big budget film and like with a lot of actors involved. Huge decorations, a lot of maybe like costumes, designers involved, and so on. So like when you think about like epics, so I usually think about like great historical films and costume dramas. So yeah, so we will just touch upon this question a little bit later because we have like epics almost everywhere. So it usually it depends on the budget and like the number of actors involved. The more actors, so the more epic film is. Moneyball, drama, sport. Yeah. So when you have like a sports topic, it is sport. So if it's a sad movie, then it's drama sport. If it's a happy movie, then it's comedy sport. So sometimes you can have comedies and sports topic combined. So, Parth, your question about epics. So epics, historical. They are costume dramas, historical, war films, medieval voms or period pictures. So when they belong to some concrete period, century. SG, so that's the abbreviation, sword and sandal. It is about biblical and antiquity films. So for example, if we talk about some costume dramas and period pictures as well, so the recent film Favorite by Lantimos. So this is epic costume drama, historical as well. Yeah. Troy. So this is sword and sandal, but you will not really see this subgenre like sword and sandal. It's just some kind of slang version. You will see that it is drama, epic, or historical film. Yeah, probably they put war, but I'm not really sure. Yeah, like all these gladiators, 300 Spartans, so they belong to this one. Sword and sandal. Yeah. 1917, the recent one. So again, epic film, but it is historical and war film, and it is drama film. Yeah, so when, for example, you don't know anything about the film, but you already can read the genre of this film. So when you see that it is drama, so side movie, then historical, okay, something about history, war, okay, so military actions. So you already know that you're going to watch some sad movie about some past events involving some military actions. So would you like to see this film? Yes, okay, you'll go. No, then okay, so probably you would like to see a comedy instead. So Marat hasn't seen 1917. What about the rest of the guys? Have you seen 1917? Okay. Well, that was one of the Oscars favorites, and especially because of cinematography, and like a very huge achievement in cinematography with Roger Deakins as director of photography of this film. So Marat. Yeah, Tim Dickens. Okay. So Marat, well, envy you. Oh no, you need to watch this film only at the cinema. You cannot watch it on a laptop, or like even if you have like a nice TV system at home. No, you need to go to a film theater and watch film there, because it's just it will be a crime if you watch it somewhere on laptop. Horrors. So horrors can be slashers, splatters, psychological, survival, teen horror, found footage. So this is some slang expression for this one. Serial killer, paranormal, occult, zombies, satanic, and monsters. So anything that you want. For example, the first probably and most known horror film, Nosferatu, by Friedrich Murnau. Then more recent horrors, Saw and The Ring. So how do you feel about horrors? Do you love blood and meat, zombies? No, you don't like all the horrors, or you still can enjoy maybe not this like ghosts and zombies, but you can enjoy like psychological horrors. I mean, for example, if you like science fiction, so Space Odyssey, in a way, it is a little bit of a horror, but it's a psychological one. Marat, so almost all sorts. I saw only the first part because it was like very huge and popular back then, and then I saw the second part, and it was not already that interesting anymore. The Walking Dead, yeah, with the psychological. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like when we say about psychological, so the Shutter Island as well. So this is horror, but it's when we say horror, so we think about like something like Freddy Krueger, but so it can be like a subgenre, psychological thriller, for example. So we have something we're going to be scared, we're going to be afraid of something, and there is some kind of like crime involved. So you see, so you will, as soon as you understand all the subgenres, then you will be more proficient to identify what kind of emotions you are going to experience when you watch this film, and so which plot is to be expected. War Z, was that? I don't know how to pronounce it correctly. I think it will be more like fantasy, war, drama. The next one, music or dance. So you will have here musicals, musical comedies, music dramas. So usually when music plays a huge role in the film, so it's either like a musical or the main characters interact a lot with something connected with music. For example, we have Singing in the Rain, that's the musical in its ideal form. Then we have Dirty Dancing, so we have music, but the main part is about dancing, so it will be described as melodrama, drama, dance. So you will see the word dance and then you understand, oh, okay, so the characters will be dancing in this film. So I will watch something about dancing. Or, for example, Whiplash. So the main character plays drums. So film is going to be about music as well. So drama and music. It narrows already. So what you're going to watch. School of Rock. Marat cannot watch singing films, well, if you don't like them. So as soon as you see something connected with music, just check if these characters are going to sing. So if it's about some singer trying to, I don't know, become famous one, or it's about more like playing a musical instrument, for example. Because there are some two nice recent films about music. Inside Llewyn Davis. So the man plays the guitar and tries to be famous, but it's quite independent film, I could say. So it was not really that famous, though I think it had some nominations, maybe even for Oscar. I don't really remember. So that's again some drama and music film. Or another one with oh, A Star is Born. I skipped it too. So, but it's a remake, so it's not the original one. And the second one is, I don't remember if it's solo or soloist with okay, yeah, I don't really remember. So that was a really great film about a homeless musician who has this great talent to play cello, and a rich guy finds him in the street and he tries to help him to give like a concert because he really he's a very, very talented man. I don't really remember the name of the actor who played this talented cello player. Okay, so your favorite ones: science fiction, sci-fi. So they are apocalyptic, dystopic, space operas, so because like Space Odyssey, futuristic noirs, fantasies. So usually they try to put fantasy like a separate genre, so that to have science fiction and fantasy. But initially, so fantasy and fairy tales were I don't know why, but they were part of science fiction. So now, well, but anyway, so science fiction and fantasy, they're quite a little bit different ones. I mean, you cannot really compare Space Odyssey or Star Wars with Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter, because they don't have this a little bit science behind them. They're not really connected with space exploration, for example, because when we think about something like science fiction, we think more about something connected with space, something connected with future worlds, something imaginary. Fantasies, they're really more about like fairy tales, and they're usually adaptations of books. So as an example, again, Space Odyssey, Blade Runner is a great futuristic noir. So probably futuristic noir was created especially after this Blade Runner film. And Lord of the Rings. Interstellar, yeah, awesome. Science fiction. Yeah, we have fans of Christopher Nolan here. Yeah. What about Denis Villeneuve? Denis Villeneuve also tries to produce some like Arrival. It's also science fiction. And we're looking forward to Dune, of course. Yeah. Okay. War films or anti-war films. So you can either have war actions or like talking about war but never show really some war action in film. It can be point of view tales, like a story told, and military operations. For example, like probably one of the most famous and best in anti-war concept is Ivan's Childhood by Tarkovsky. If we are looking for something really war film in this genre, so Saving Private Ryan, and point of view tale in a way. So The English Patient. So it's a war film, but it's not really a war film. So it tells something about war. It has a storyteller, but it's not this war film that we would like to see. So it will be war film, it will be drama, melodrama, for example. The main stress will be on love story, but during some war period. The Thin Red Line. Yeah, so as soon as you see some military action, so of course it will be war film. War film and usually like drama film and historical or epic. Yeah, so. Point of view tales, they can be biopics. Okay? The person tells about himself or herself. Yeah, but we need this famous person to be involved so that we tell story about him or her. Hacksaw Ridge, yeah. So if you have soldiers, troops, main characters, war period, so if it's not just some one person fighting against some, I don't know, a group of gangsters, so that it's not action film. Yeah, so then it is a war film. So we need some big scale of military operations, something happening. Yeah, 1917, of course, war film. War, drama, historical. Westerns, epic Westerns, comic Westerns, revenge Westerns, Italian spaghetti Westerns. And here we have road films, road movies. I have a question. Why do we have road movies in Westerns? What do you think? It's a freedom level. That's very poetic. Be more specific. What do we need for Western? Mm-hmm. Empty highways, desert. Okay, what's the main transport in Western? Kind of transport. Well, I would put transport in quotes. Horses. Okay, what about road movies? What do we replace it with? Truck. Well, anyway, so if you're on the road, but you're not on the horse, but on a motorcycle, car, I don't know, train, so it doesn't really matter. So it's still kind of Western, but we cannot really call it a Western because usually we associate Westerns with horses. Yeah, because it was like back then when they don't really have cars. So as examples, Good, Bad and Ugly with Clint Eastwood. Django, it's a new version, yeah, so like modern Western, but it still will be Western. Of course, when we see Western nowadays as a genre of film, so it feels like, whoa, what's wrong? Because Western is usually something that comes from 1920s, 30s, because that was the period for them to flourish. And Easy Rider, we cannot say that Easy Rider a Western, but it is a road movie. It's a road film. Route 66 will be road movie in a way. Hateful Eight, yeah, it will be Western. You know, Tarantino likes Westerns. Italian spaghetti Westerns, it's because Italians started to produce Westerns, so they copied Hollywood Westerns, and they produced their own like Italian Westerns, so they got the special genre. Okay, so these are the main genres that we have and subgenres. So if you want to identify the film, so just follow the rule. Think if it's a happy movie or sad movie, then comedy, drama. Then try to think if it's what about the time? So maybe it really can be Western, it can be historical film, it can be futuristic film, so science fiction or fantasy film. And then, so again, what kind of main theme? So it can be sport, it can be music, it can be something else. But so try to describe one film in using three genres and subgenres. So 3 words will be enough, and usually 3 words you can find on advertisement and when you go to a movie theater, so that you narrow your expectations to your emotions which you're going to experience. Do you have any questions about the genres? Okay, moving on. So we need to refresh from the previous lesson about it's 11 genres and plus subgenres. You can find all the Italian spaghetti westerns if you just Google them, Italian spaghetti westerns. If you enjoy them, good luck to you. But they're sort of, they're like parodies on real Hollywood westerns. So from the previous lesson, we already touched some words connected with script, and we're going to refresh some of them and focus on something new. So when we talk about script, we need to travel through some stages while we are developing script. So last time we talked about the initial stage of script, that is idea or logline, as we call it. So logline is usually one sentence long. You need to have 25, 50 words. So, and in this one sentence, you identify like the main character or protagonist, his or her goal, what he or she wants, why he, she cannot get it. So that's the conflict. And what this protagonist will do to achieve this goal through this conflict. So that's the logline. And I guess you remember some examples about The Godfather, how it was described that some old, getting older patriarch was trying to give his power to his reluctant son. So that is already the whole idea of the Godfather film, for example. So usually you can also see this logline when a movie is described. And again, if you go, for example, on IMDb, so the first description of the film, the short one, so this is usually the logline because it gives you the whole idea of who the main character is, what he or she wants, and what kind of conflict is going to be expected. The next stage is outline. So it is one-page synopsis, and it's already a short story of your future film with main actions described. But you need to be quite brief, but still need to enumerate all the main actions and scenes. So you don't really write dialogues here, you just describe everything in prose. So this is a very short story. The next stage is treatment. It can be up to 40 pages, so it's already like your episode plan or scene plan, detailed descriptions of the plot, very important in present tense, because then this present tense will travel to your script as well. No dialogue. And you need to spend like one paragraph for each major dramatic event. So usually this one major dramatic event can be one scene. Well, it depends, but usually sometimes treatments can be a little bit smaller. They can be maybe 20 pages or 30 pages, but they cannot really exceed 40 pages. Of course, it's standard, it's average, so some treatments can be even longer. Well, it depends what kind of script writer writes them and for whom. So rules can be not so strict. But so that's the average. And then the next stage, when you have treatment, when you already have this structured description of the plot, you can go and write the script. So usually the script is 90 pages or 120 pages. So one page is 1 minute, usually. You write dialogues in the script already, and you use all the format that is supposed to be there. usually the first or author's draft is presented, so that to see like how many pages we can have from treatment, because for example you can predict that you will have 90 pages and you want to have 90 pages, but when you write your first draft, so it can be fewer than 90 pages or it can be more. But if for example you need to have really 90 pages and you need to fit in 90-minute film, so at least at this stage of script writing, so you have to then rewrite it, make some revisions, and deliver the final draft, because usually based on the script, so if you have 90 pages, so it is supposed to mean that you will have 90 minutes film. You need to have the special script format like Courier 12 point, and so in a special, you can write the script usually in a special software program, yeah, like Final Draft usually. Yeah, but well, about the programs a little bit later. So when you have script, this is your document that you can, for example, present to the producer when you want to find some financial support, or when you want to sell the script, or if you're already writing it with your producer or director. So then the script becomes the official document, and the next stage to work with the script is to make shooting script from it, so that it becomes more available for other departments to work with the information from the script. So it is called shooting script. It's for production purposes only. You can have their technical information about how to shoot each scene. So director of photography is involved, because he or she, together with the director, they discuss how many shots they need, their size, their angles, some comments as well. Director, for example, can start already rehearsing with the actor, so he can or she can put some performance cues for them, what to be expected, and so he or she can also make some notes about scene blocking. So do you know what is scene blocking or mise-en-scene? Okay. Yeah, like the verb will be to block the scene. That's what director does. So you can actually like write in words what you want your actors to do in the scene, where you would like them to stand, to sit, and so on. Or you can even have some kind of like a map attached. It can be, of course, be done on paper with pencil, or it can be done in special programs, and programs really can vary. So it depends really on the production. So scene blocking is actually what director does. That's his or her main job during the production time, especially. So to put actors on the set and tell them what to do and how to act. And the position of them, how they move, is very essential, because director of photography needs to know how to shoot them. Actors need to know what are their limits in terms of territory of the shot, so that not to go out of the limits of this size of the shot. So it has to be, of course, discussed before each frame is shot, like each take. So actors need to know this information, so it's being discussed among director of photography, sometimes production designer if they need to interact with set decorations, costumes, props. Okay, so we will talk more about scene blocking when we talk about the film director and actors as well. And when everything is done from the point of view of production and we move to distribution and we get ready with the promotion materials, so we need to create a tagline or slogan or motto, some kind of dramatic phrase that sum up tone and premise of the whole film. So it's like a selling sentence so that to attract attention. Sometimes this tagline can be put on the poster so that to get more attention from the audience. And I want to play with you a little bit. I want to see if you can guess some films by their taglines. These are some famous taglines from different films, from different genres. Some of these taglines were put on posters and became quite iconic. The first one is "Who You Gonna Call?" And Marat has the first answer. Ghostbusters. Okay. Number 2, "You'll Never Go in the Water Again." So something connected with water and danger in it. So that's Jaws. Number 3, "You'll Believe a Man Can Fly." Birdman? No, we need somebody earlier who could fly. Some powerful man from action genre. Probably one of the first, yeah, Superman. Yeah, that's the tagline for Superman. Number 4, "Why So Serious?" which phrase became again very popular. The Dark Knight. Yeah, and actually the recent Joker, so it used this phrase as well. Not really like as a tagline, but still we know that "Why So Serious?" it's Joker's favorite phrase. And number 5, "You don't get 500 million friends without making a few enemies." This tagline was officially published on the poster of the film. So it also became quite popular. I think it's... No, it's not Devil Wears Prada. It's... I think it's David Fincher film with some platform or website where you can find friends. Facebook. It's about Facebook, but what's the name of the film? Social Network. Yeah. So here are the posters. Yeah, The Social Network. So here are the posters of these films. And as promised on the poster of The Social Network, so you have this tagline. Yeah, that was the Spider-Man about the man who can fly. Oh! Thank you. That's mistake. That's my mistake. I put the wrong poster. It's about the Superman, but I put Spider-Man. Okay. So we refreshed the genres. We refreshed what we need for the script, like from the point of view of the stages. We know the structure. I don't feel like you see it subconsciously. I make mistakes in this genre. But so we have the structure, we have the outside, but what about the inside of the script? So what do we need to put inside the script so that to make it great, so that to make a great story in the end? And here we have a help from a guy named Joseph Campbell, who is an American professor, and he is best known for his book, The Hero with a Thousand Faces, in which he discusses his theory about the journey and the archetype of heroes, myths, and monomyths. So he is not a scriptwriter, but he described in details what a hero goes through in any type of story. So we can apply this structure not only to scripts, but actually to ordinary life. So when a person sits and tells that he or she doesn't know what to expect, in fact, we know what to expect. We just sometimes don't really want to know, to say that we already know how our story will develop or what to expect, because everything is structured. We know what to expect. The thing is that do we have some strength and power to embrace this journey? So, according to Campbell, we have some journey that we can really set on or not. And while going through this journey, something happens to us or like to a hero. And if you once learn the stages, so we're going to take just the initial number of stages, because sometimes they can be more, like a more detailed hero's journey, but we're going to take just the original one, the basic one. So if you remember this journey, then you will be able to understand like 3-act structure of the script, so which is like actually is based on hero's journey anyway. So we are going to follow the structure of this hero's journey, and we're going to have an example from Marat's favorite film, Matrix, and we will see where we can identify these steps of the hero's journey. So I already have this material published once, so we're going to refresh if somebody didn't see it, and refresh if somebody saw it. So we begin with some ordinary world and something known. So we just describe the set, we describe the situation where we find ourselves or our character. So before something else will happen. So here we have like a very comic picture of panda sitting with its bamboo. So nothing really is happening. So this is ordinary life of panda. If you remember Matrix, and I hope that you remember Matrix, so how could you describe the ordinary world of Mr. Anderson or Neo before he starts his journey? He has an office job. Mm-hmm. He's a clerk. He's bored. So that's Neo's ordinary world. Okay. Depressed. Yeah. So, and also, he is a hacker. So he has like a day job when he works at an office, and during the nighttime, he's a hacker. So he's trying to balance. But actually, we will find out that he's like a clerk a little bit later. The film opens with this scene when we see him as a hacker. And only then we will see that he tries to be like a normal guy who goes to an office and works, and he actually looks neat and tidy. But this is the opening. So he's also like a hacker. That's his ordinary world. And he permanently looks for something. Okay. The next step is the call to adventure. So something happens or something is being missed. Our character wants something, or he or she receives a call. So this call can be like a call, it can be a letter, it can be some person telling him or her to do something. So it's like an invitation for a challenge. Marat is writing, follow White Rabbit, wake up Neo, that's the call. No? So these are different screenshots combined together. So wake up Neo, the Matrix has you, follow the White Rabbit. So this is the call to adventure. And our character can accept it and follow, so that to overcome some fears and maybe lack of confidence, or he can reject the call. And at some point, so he can keep rejecting the call like a few times, but the call will come back to him or her a few times, like 3 times usually. Like, are you sure you don't want to? The next step is meeting the mentor. So we need a person who will give us an extra information or a special tool with which we travel to another world, to some place that we don't know about, but we want to know about because we accepted the call, but we still need somebody to guide us. So this person is usually the mentor. So what do you think about Neo? So Neo's mentor is Morpheus. So I guess you remember that the old guy with goggles. That's a very great description of Morpheus. If you remember that actually between the moment that Neo in fact accepted the call, so he followed the White Rabbit, then he had the situation in the office, agents coming, and he had to like jump like outside the window something, and he couldn't do it. And then there was like the special, so he was he had some discussion with these agents, and then this like monster was put into his stomach or belly. So in a way, so when he couldn't jump when he was out of the window, so he rejected the call. And when he woke up in his apartment and he got the second call from Trinity, so he again tried to accept this call. And when they helped him to get rid of this monster in his stomach. So that was the final acceptance of the call, because he was ready to move forward. And then we're moving to the step of meeting the mentor. Yeah, so with Neo, it happened twice. So he had this chance to accept the call twice. So the mentor. So we meet Morpheus, and Morpheus tells Neo about the rules, about the next place, another world, the real world, and gives him instructions how to get to this world. At this point, Neo has also a choice to go back home. You remember this traditional scene about the pills, the blue pill, the red pill. So again, Neo can go back home because he is still has a choice to go back to his ordinary world. But he crosses the first threshold and he leaves the ordinary world. In this case, Matrix is a great example how the hero travels and what his journey is, because it just follows the steps. And you will be surprised to see other films from this point of view. Maybe they will not be that direct in their illustration and plot, but anyway, so you will see these steps anyway. So Neo travels to another world, to the real world. So as soon as he gets the pill, so something strange starts to happen. I hope that you remember that he wakes in the real world, and this world is not really something to look forward to. So we need this special door. When you pass through it, so you go to an ordinary world. So the world that you have no idea about, you have just theoretical knowledge of. And you need to change physically or mentally. So you need to make some changes in yourself so that to survive in this new unknown world. What happens next? You meet your allies, some friends who will help you to survive in this world because they already live in this world and they can support you. So do you remember some allies or some friends as soon as Neo wakes up in the real world? Trinity? Well, Trinity in this case was a little bit earlier. She appeared. And in some cases, we can have allies or friends appear a little bit earlier. But anyway, we know that Trinity doesn't really belong to this unreal world. So she comes from the real world to save Neo. So, and then, of course, when he wakes up on the ship, so he meets the team. So these are people who travel on the special shuttle, and they try to survive and battle the Matrix. So that's the meeting with allies and friends. And as soon as we know our friends, so, and we know the world, the new world around us, we need to go through some tests so that to see how to survive in this world and to understand the rules of this new world. So on the one hand, we have tests, and I guess you remember that In Matrix, they had this special stimulation programs, and Morpheus took Neo through different educational programs so that to show how the world is organized. So these are tests, and Neo learned some martial arts. And as soon as Neo had these tests, just in the next scene, we see the enemies. So they're not really revealed as enemies. We don't yet know that they're enemies, like despite these machines that they hunt for them. So we already know that these machines are bad. But for example, Cypher, we don't know that he's the enemy. But then we have a scene with him and Agent, and we know that he's enemy. So first we see friends, then we see tests, and after tests, like our hero completes the test, we will see the enemies. So we will see maybe they will not be really revealed as enemies, but it's just the subtext. These people are bad people. They're traitors. And somewhere in the middle, in the film, in the script, in the hero's journey, we come to the ordeal. Ordeal is the main, in a way, task, test that we need to fulfill. And what do you think is the main ordeal for Neo? Because the main ordeal is connected with like purpose of the character, what he wants, what he tries to understand about the world, about himself, and he's getting closer to find out something that will help him or not. You need to remember Matrix and its scenes. So what was the next after we found out about the Cypher and Agent Smith? Q Agent Smith? Well, but you need to go back to the beginning of the film, and at the beginning of the film, Neo didn't have any desire to kill anybody. It was not his aim. He was, first of all, he was thinking that something was wrong with the world, and he wanted to find out what. He wants his life back. You know, not knowing the details is much better than knowing them. No, not really. So if you remember why Morpheus was so interested in Neo, what did he think about Neo? He was a cool guy. Capable of beating the agents. Uh-huh. The chosen one. But Neo doesn't know that he is the chosen one. So at the beginning, Neo understands that something is wrong in this world, and he feels it, and he sort of understands it. Then he meets people who tell them that, yes, you're right. And then Morpheus tells him that he has a feeling that Neo is the chosen one. And if Neo is the chosen one, then he will be able to defeat all the agents, he will be able to defeat this matrix system and everything. So Neo needs to know if he is the chosen one. Because if he is the chosen one, that's the end of the film, or he will go and just, I don't know, say something and do something with his hand, and everyone will die. So be careful, because in the Matrix, the ordeal is to find out if Neo is the chosen one. And the first time that it is possible to find out about it is to go to Pythia, to the Oracle, because she knows everything. And for Neo, it is as for him at that moment, it is the main ordeal. Because after her words, he will, well, his world will change anyway. So Morpheus will know that Neo is the chosen one. Anton, it's it's not some kind of law system here, so you need to believe. Anyway, so for him, meeting with Pythia is the main ordeal. But when he meets Pythia, she tells him that he is not the chosen one. But then she reveals another secret, that very soon either he or Morpheus will die, and only Neo can choose who will die. That's the new ordeal. So when he was going to meet Pythia, he was thinking about one plot and one kind of situation, but then everything changed. Yes, and that's how it works. Yeah, we have a guy, we have a girl who can tell us. And for Neo, here in this scene, builds another ordeal, like to choose who will die, he or Morpheus. And Neo thinks that it will happen maybe sometime later, but unfortunately it happens just when they go out in the street and will try to come back to the real world, and Neo will be, and Morpheus will be captured by the agents. So, and on the one hand, this is a little bit present for Neo because, well, he will be alive, but he's alive. He knows that he's not chosen, that Morpheus was wrong, and Morpheus will die. Well, poor Morpheus. And Neo decides to go back and save Morpheus. So this is his decision. This is his second ordeal. He tries to change the story. And as soon as he embraces the new ordeal, he will get the reward. And if we follow the film, so Neo goes back to save Morpheus, and Trinity helps him, and he succeeds. So his reward is the life of Morpheus. Time Travel Machine is another film. So in a way, his main reward for his ordeal is the life of Morpheus, and actually his own life. But still, we have this question about being chosen. So if Morpheus is not chosen, if Neo is not chosen, then okay, we'll go back and find another chosen one. And they go back. So Neo saved Morpheus, everything is fulfilled, everything is done, and the next stage is the road back, like with the reward. The reward is Morpheus, leaving the unordinary world. So this is our not really real world. And when they try to leave this world, something bad happens. So everybody leaves except Neo. So Neo has trouble to get back. And at this very moment, he has his final ordeal to fight the agent. And if our hero accepts this final ordeal, then he will have the resurrection and the return with the elixir. In Matrix, it's just the clear visualization of it. So, as you remember, Neo got killed, he resurrected, and he found out that he was really the chosen. So Pifia was wrong, or maybe she tricked him, we don't know. And he comes back with the new knowledge. He knows everything about the Matrix. He has power. He has something that he can provide people with so that to help them to wake up. And that's the end of the story. In a way, we're coming back to the real world. Our hero comes back to the real world in the final scene. But first of all, he is changed. He knows much more, and he has some powerful knowledge that he can use for later, or he can help people with. So that's the hero's journey. How do you feel about looking at the Matrix from this point of view? Have you ever looked at the Matrix from the point of view of hero's journey? Long journey. Yeah, that's true. Okay. So, just remember the hero journey, the main steps, because usually we know that film or script is supposed to have 3 acts, like setup, it's the first act, confrontation, act 2, and resolution, act 3. So act 1, setup, is everything that happens before our hero leaves the ordinary world. Yeah, so this is the accepting the call, this is meeting the mentor, and then just gone to the ordinary world. Confrontation is everything that happens in this unordinary world. And Act 3 is the final ordeal, resurrection, and coming back changed and with new knowledge. If we have 90 minutes film, so then usually around minute 23, 25, something like that, this will be the end of Act 1, and there you will see the door to the unordinary world. Then around 65, maybe 70 minutes, this will be the end of Act 2, and this is where our hero will try to go back to the ordinary world with some reward, but something then will go wrong, so that will be the climax. And then in the Act 3, so that will be the final fight or something like that, and resurrection. If it's a longer film, a longer script, with 120 minutes or pages, so then it becomes a little bit longer. So we expect the end of the first act around 30 minutes, then the end of the second act around 90 minutes, and then we will have like half an hour for resolution. So you can check, you can take any film that you like and sit with some timer and expect these things to happen. So sometimes it can be a little bit predictable, but on the one hand you will see the structure, you will be able to see the structure, but on the other hand you will be able to see different tricks, because for example with Matrix it's just very bright and clear, but with other films everything, each step will be hidden, or maybe some steps will be omitted. So we don't know. And if it's some kind of like art house film, so then rules cannot be applied at all. So everything can be changed. Do you have any questions about hero's journey or 5-3-act structure? Well, it's just the basic concept that you usually get about 3-act structure. It's some school materials. Okay. And we need also to see the format of script, so that multiple hero perspective is a very great question. But first of all, we need to start with just one hero and see how he or she travels. But if we take, for example, multiple hero perspective, so this is already the variation. And then you can apply each hero's journey to each hero, because at least one of them will really fulfill the whole journey. Others may stop at some point or appear at some point, but somebody has to follow all the steps, at least one character. Okay, so when you see a script, I guess you can first of all identify the font. It's Courier, and it's very famous among script writers, so it was specially invented because of typewriters. And usually it has some initial parts which are very important. First of all, it's the slug or slug line. It's when and where action takes place. So for example, this is the part of the script from The Matrix, and it's the scene when Neo meets Morpheus. So it happens interior, which means inside, in a hotel. So we know where. Or it can be exterior. So usually it's either interior or exterior. Then we have a short description of what happens. So this part is called action. So what, who, and what does. Usually it's a very short description. We don't really give any details. We just tell more like where, who, what happens. For example, like Trinity leads Neo from the stairwell down the hall of the 13th floor. They stop outside room 1313. Then, of course, we have dialogue. We have character's name, like here in Trinity, and the dialogue, usually in the middle of the page. So that's usually what you need to know. This is the main parts, but if you need more details, so this is the basic ones. The script or the scene can start with fade in, fade out. This is usually some technical terms or editing terms already included, but this is some kind of like traditional stuff that you can put into the script at the beginning. And of course, the end. That's what you're looking forward to. The next one, interior, exterior. It's about the location. And you can also refer to day or night if it's important. Sometimes you can omit it. Also, you can have parentheticals. So this is how a character speaks or tells something. So usually it comes after the character's name in brackets. So, for example, character is angry or speaks loudly or laughs while talking. It's not specific, it's not basic, but sometimes it can be also identified. There can be transitions mentioned, like cut to or dissolve to, but this is for editing. It's not the obligatory for normal script, but basic script standard. But sometimes, for example, if already script writer has something like comments for editor or director has already comments, they can put it into script. It's not really a shooting script yet, but it can give some comments as well. The next one is extensions, voiceover, and VO voiceover and OS off screen when we cannot see the character. So we usually put it next to the character's name. For example, when somebody talks with somebody on the phone, so we can see, we can hear the voice, but we cannot see a person. So how to put it in the script? So with off screen, or if it's voiceover, then it's narration. So we don't see the character, and we just hear the voice, and somebody tells us about the story and setup. If we have some editing, montage, so then it starts with montage and then end of montage. It's like when we have a series of short scenes combined together when like memories or quick actions or time passes by. So this is the montage. In the script we have montage, like the beginning and end of montage. The same with flashback. So if you want to identify that it is flashback, then it's flashback to, and then back to present. If we have dreams, dream sequence, it is called, and end of dream sequence. If we need to identify that character is talking on the phone specifically, and we're not really happy with just off screen, then we can use intercut phone conversation. And also we use the word intercut for parallel action. But again, parallel action is more for editing, so it's some technical moment. And sometimes, for example, when we have a dialogue, and dialogue is not finished on the page, and we want to identify that this dialogue will continue on the next page, then we put more at the end of the page, and then we put continued on the next page on the top. So this is just the very basic terms for the script that you can find sometimes if you read the scripts. So are these terms new for you, especially for guys who write the scripts or read the scripts? So what's the percentage of new information for you here? Okay. So never heard of them. Well, of course, when you will need some specific words, terms for the action. Yeah. So, and if you write in a special program like Final Draft, so then you will have all of these words. Yeah, so especially when you need to present, for example, the script to like big producers, or you want to submit the scripts for some competitions, then you need to work on the format. Yeah, so you will need to be very neat and tidy about the script, and so you will have to, because otherwise nobody will read your script if it's not formatted correctly. If you write the script for like your purposes only, so any type of script will do, but if you want to become more professional, so try to do the very best with your script from your first tries. Okay, so, and we need to know some famous script writers, because usually, as we discussed before, we know films and identify them with the names of film directors. But how about scriptwriters? Because the most important in the film is script, because everything starts with the script, and only then people join. So, do you know some famous scriptwriters? Of course, some of film directors are also scriptwriters themselves, but if we take scriptwriters who usually only write scripts, they are not directors. Aaron Sorkin. He is also a film director, but yeah, he started as a scriptwriter. For film and TV. Maybe some more coming from a little bit last century. Okay, do you know film directors who are writers as well? So then we speak about types of films when it's more like author-like films, when director has control of script, also probably is co-producer as well, and can have privilege of final cut. Yeah, Terrence Malick. Such a lucky guy. He can do everything that he wants. He writes his scripts himself, directs them, produces them. Yeah, he can do whatever he wants and nothing at all. What a life. Well, anyway, if you're still thinking, then any great producer or any great film director like Spielberg, James Cameron, Peter Jackson, Francis Ford Coppola, Stanley Kubrick, Antonioni, Fellini, Bergman, Tarkovsky in a way. So they were also scriptwriters for their films, or they still worked very closely with scriptwriters, but still they were the ones to make the final decisions about the scripts. But anyway, I will give you more names so that you be more competent in script writing. So maybe you paid attention to the main picture of our script lesson. So there was this older guy sitting in a bathtub writing a script. This is James Dalton Trumbo, and he was an American screenwriter, novelist. He wrote Roman Holiday, Exodus, Spartacus, and 30 Seconds Over Tokyo. Well, maybe you know Roman Holiday. So that's quite famous romantic melodrama film. Then I would like you to meet William Goldman. he won Academy Awards for Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid, All the President's Men, and he wrote Marathon Man and The Princess Bride. So this is some kind of like an older Hollywood, but anyway. So, and he's also collaborated on other scripts and works, but these are some most famous. I hope that you know this name, or you've at least heard of him, Charlie Kaufman. He also wrote some books on script writing. He wrote Being John Malkovich, Adaptation, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. And I'll give you one more name. Oliver Stone. So he won Academy Award for Best Adapted Screenplay, Midnight Express. He wrote Scarface, and he was also a writer and director of drama film Platoon. And now he's doing different documentaries. So have you heard anything about the mentioned above scriptwriters? Have you heard of them? Okay. No, I heard. So if you didn't, then try to research more a little bit in the area of great scriptwriters. But usually, so we follow film directors who are scriptwriters as well. And when we talk about how to get more professional in script writing, it's more about reading than watching. So I can recommend you to read first and very initial book where everything started from. So this is Poetics by Aristotle. He wrote about the structure of drama, and then all the other books were just based on his notes. So if you start with Poetics, so that's great. Then you can move to Joseph Campbell, The Hero with a Thousand Faces, from psychological point of view, and it's not about script writing, it's about understanding personality, psychology, and myth. And the adaptation for script writing will be Christopher Vogler, The Writer's Journey. So he takes the original Campbell's hero's journey and tries to adapt it for script writing. So this is what I suggest you to do, to follow. But if you want to enjoy, oh, you can read it in Russian as well, and it doesn't matter. You have all of these books translated in Russian. So if, for example, you already read these books, or you want something more oriented to script writing, you just can Google famous script writers' books, and everything that comes first, like Sitfield, Snyder, McKee. So these are the top books that usually aspiring filmmakers read so that to write first script, or trying to achieve better results with script. But for beginning, I would propose you to start with the basics, not script writing, but just telling a story, understanding the drama concept and drama structure. Because script is just another form of telling a story. But if you want to watch something, so I have a few suggestions. So first of all, you can watch biopic Trumbo by Jay Roach. It's actually by Jay Roach. It's quite a recent movie about Trumbo, and we know already that he wrote Roman Holiday. Quite a nice film, was nominated for Oscar. Then you have an option to watch a very interesting but strange film, Burton Fink, by Coen Brothers. Quite an oldie, but still has something interesting sides about scriptwriter. And Secret Window, it's a little bit more far away from scriptwriting. It's just about a writer. It's based on Stephen King novel. It's by David Cope. Maybe not really famous film, but with Johnny Depp in the leading part. So you can look at the profession of scriptwriter or just a writer from different angles. Or maybe you have already seen some of these films. So how do you feel? Have you seen anything? So Marat's Secret Window. Well, anyway, you can watch others. Sure, I like it. Well, its tastes are different. So anyway, you can read something, you can watch something, but most important, choose your favorite film or watch a new film and try to follow the hero's journey, try to follow the character's journey. Try to see that actually the structure is working for any normal standard film. Don't try to take art house films or some kind of experimental films because they cannot really always follow the structure. They can really break everything. But that's why they're art house or experimental films. So, and the more you practice with the structure, the more you will see, on the one hand, that everyone uses it, but on the other hand, how they use it and which interesting ways they try to use so that to make it different, to make it extraordinary, surprising, like how to reveal all of these steps of hero's journey. So that's the end. We've completed script. That was a long lesson because I had a lot of information. Oh yeah, Oliver Stone is famous for documentary films. This is his new passion. Yeah, that's true. So next time we're going to talk about the main guy, the money guy, producer, types of producers, production office, production engine, and production budget. So we will see the documents, how to, the production costs. Yeah. So that's all from me. Do you have any questions? Or I just overwhelmed you with all this information? Let's collab and make a movie. Yeah, we will call it Screen Life. It's usually now it's very famous and popular genre nowadays to make Screen Life. Yeah, you can always exchange your contacts and share your works. I guess you can either send here your contact information or some links to your profiles or even portfolios if you want. Yeah, that's such a unique idea to make a lockdown movie. I guess we're going to have and see a lot of lockdown movies. That's what actually all people do now. They're trying to shoot something, and usually they have this lockdown stories. Yes, smart films, mobile films. Yeah, mobile filmmaking. That's quite famous and popular nowadays. You see, Parth is working on such a film now with his friends. So that's the trend. You need to reflect the reality. Okay. So if you don't have any questions about the material that we discussed, so please connect either on Instagram and find Parth there. So I guess you're all on my Kino Instagram account, so you can see and meet Parth, and he can share his work and keep us updated how it is going. Okay, so here I stopped the record.